Hi there, I'm Darlene Griffiths, and this is my personal intro video to EDL 952, District Administration Trends and Practices. Just a little bit about me. I have a family. I'm married to my husband for 21 years. We have 2 sons. We live in Harrington, Kansas, and I love to garden and golf. Right now, I am the principal of White City Schools, but I'll take over as the superintendent and principal for White City in USD 481 starting in July. I spent 21 years as a high school math teacher, and I've spent 4 years in administration. When I reflect on where I've come from, it's amazing. I started out in Oklahoma looking for a job as a math teacher, and I couldn't find one, mostly because I wasn't a coach. And so when an opening came available in Harrington for a math teacher, I was able to snag that job. And from there, I have been amazed at the growth that I've had and been able to move all the way to superintendent. So my goals are now the same as the goals of my district. The mission of USD 481 is to provide a safe environment while preparing students for lifelong learning so they are productive citizens. And within that mission statement, we have 3 goals: to manage district resources effectively. We are a small district, and so it's important that we keep those doors open. Accountability of all staff to make decisions to benefit student learning. All decisions are based on that premise. We want to benefit students. And goal C, provide a safe learning environment and work environments for students and staff. And that has just been hit home with the recent shooting. So we want to make sure that everyone is safe and that they can continue to learn and work. This isn't my desk, but this is basically what my desk looks like. So let's talk about the main premises in this lesson. Supportive. All stakeholders collaborate with all students' best interests in mind. As I think about my own school district, we have wraparound meetings where we work with students who are struggling. We call it a CSI because we are problem solving together to come up with ways to help this child be more successful. We include parents, we include teachers, special ed, school psych, we include mental health services if those are needed, just to try to get the best services possible to support that student in their learning. And we try to include all stakeholders in our events. We have a Veterans Day assembly. We invite veterans in as well as the community to celebrate those people. Another way that we are supportive, clear, open, honest, and timely communication can build a strong and supportive school. The part that I maybe struggle with the most is timely communication. I get wrapped up in what's happening, and sometimes I forget to send out those notifications on what's happening. Equitable. Every student, regardless of ability and background, is included in every aspect of school life. I found that to be very true in White City. We have a lot of students that are on free or reduced lunches. Their families cannot afford shoes or school supplies, and the community has stepped up multiple times to support those students and provide what is needed so that they have the same opportunities as everyone else. It's an amazing place to work. Culturally responsive. Culturally responsive teaching is a tool and style of pedagogy that takes into account the different perspectives and references in each student's own culture. Curriculum materials must represent a diverse array of cultures, and teachers must take time to reflect on their implicit biases. As I think about this, I think about one of my teachers who I had to talk to this last year about implicit biases because I found that he preferred to work with those that were higher level thinkers, and those that were not at his level he kind of pushed to the side and ignored. And so we had to talk about those biases and how we can address those. With culturally responsive in such a small school, it's not that we have people from all different nationalities and so forth. It's more of we have the haves and we have the have-nots. And being able to make sure that all of them get what they need to learn and be supported. Culturally responsive teaching improves and enhances the learning opportunities of students who have historically been marginalized in the pre-K-12 setting. And so oftentimes that is our lower income kids. In the past, we've just assumed, well, you're from that family, so you aren't going to be smart. You're not going to be able to learn this. We've changed that mindset into that everyone can learn and that everybody can grow, and being aware of that on a day-to-day basis is essential. Inclusive. In my past schools, it was very cliquish. Either you were in this group or you were in that group. When I came to White City, everybody's included, regardless of where they're from or what they like to do and things like that. It's a very inclusive environment. For example, peer mentoring. We have buddies where the older kids come and read with the younger kids. We do that at least once a week with all grades. My teachers are really good at reaching out to families, welcoming them in for the new year. We greet families when they come in the doors. We try to be good hostesses for every event that we hold. Husky Expo, we bring in not only what the school has to offer, but what the community has to offer. So if you need food, here's where you could go. If you need help with your electric bill, here's who you could contact. So we want to try to be as inclusive as possible. So as I did this assignment, it made me really think about what my school does well and what we need to work on. I think we're a very supportive, equitable, and inclusive district. Culturally responsive looks a little different for us than it does for other places. Reading the articles, I did appreciate their viewpoints and their suggestions. And with such a small student population, cultural diversity, again, isn't, it's not that we have somebody from the Middle East and we have somebody from West Texas and somebody that speaks Spanish and all these types of things. We're mostly white population, and so cultural diversity looks different for us as to how we would respond to that. However, we do like to show our students that there are lots more cultures out there in the world than what they see in our little tiny part of the world. So here are my references. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great day.